Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to be teaching you the exact strategies I use to get this brand's SEO out of the gutter and generate a 50% increase in organic traffic in just 3 months. So people often say that SEO takes 6 to 12 months to see results. What I'm going to show you is that it's not entirely true. It really just depends on the site that you're working with, right? And if the site has a good base for SEO, kind of like this brand I'm about to show you, they had a pretty good base for SEO. You can go in and fix a couple of big technical issues or content and link issues, right? And see that organic traffic flip and really start increasing, right? Like this brand, they were using a lot of other SEO agencies prior to us, and every SEO agency that they brought on kind of screwed things up a little bit more and more and more. And the traffic just started tanking, right? And we reversed those efforts. And again, in 3 months, saw a 50% increase. So I'm going to go kind of behind the scenes and show you exactly what I did to achieve those results. So let's just dive in. Now, before I get into some of the actual action items we took to achieve these results, let me show you what this brand actually looked like. So the brand is called badassglass.com. So they sell bongs, pipes, bubblers, dab rigs, right? They're a smoking brand, essentially. Now, when you take a look at their organic traffic, you can see like over the last 5 years, like it has just been declining, right? Constantly declining. And we started working with them in April, so about 3 months ago, right? And they're at around 19,000 clicks a month. Now they're at 28,000 clicks a month, right? Now, let me show you why that's exciting. If I take a look at the keywords that they actually saw increases for, you'll notice that they're like big keywords that actually generate revenue, right? We didn't try ranking them for like, what is a bong and like, what is a bubbler or whatever, right? Like we didn't really target too many like informational keywords. We're just like, all right, let's increase organic traffic by increasing organic traffic to those like product category or collection pages, because that's the traffic that's actually going to convert, right? That's the strategy that we implemented. That's the strategy I'm going to show you, how we did it. And again, these are kind of the results here, right? They hit the first page for bongs. They hit the first page for glass bongs. They're at number 15 for dab rig. So big jump there, right? Gas mask bong, Mav glass, reclaim catcher, glass pipes. They moved onto the first page. Percolator bong. They moved onto the first page. Weed bowls. They moved on the first page. So the list kind of goes on and on. Like the increase in traffic is from these keywords that actually drive conversions, right? So now that we've kind of gone through that, showed you guys the results, let me show you exactly how we did it. So the first thing is that we performed a technical SEO audit, right? Now, here's the hard truth about technical SEO. 90% of it is unnecessary. Like, especially if you're looking at like Ahrefs or SEMrush, like those technical audits, they give you so much just garbage, like, oh, your meta title is like too short. Oh, like your text ratio is too little. It's just, it's nonsense, right? Ignore a lot of those tools and focus on these items here that I'm about to show you, right? So focus on ensuring that your key pages are indexed. Focus on ensuring that like unnecessary pages, like paginated pages, tag pages, archive pages, make sure that stuff is no index, right? Fix 404 errors, fix broken backlinks, ensure you have good website loading speed, ensure your XML sitemap is properly submitted, and ensure you have structured data like schema, for product reviews and all that good stuff, right? So now, how do you even start a technical SEO audit, right? So what I do is I run a Screaming Frog crawl, and Screaming Frog is a great tool because it essentially gives you a list of all the URLs on the site, and you can hook up APIs for like Ahrefs and GA4 in Search Console too, so you can get like page level data like traffic, CTR, impressions, keywords, backlinks, right? So ran this scan and I got a list of all the pages on the site, right? So the site was pretty big. There was about, 13,000 pages. So couple things I noticed. So you'll notice these pages in red. So these are like all the paginated pages, right? Like we don't need this stuff indexed in Google. Like we just need the first page index. So what I did was I added a bit of code that basically told Google like, hey, don't index these pages, index like the primary page as well. And what that code was it was a canonical tag, right? So all these paginated pages have canonical tags that tell Google, again, don't index this page, index the primary page, right? So you'll see if you kind of scroll through this sheet, you'll see a lot of stuff in red. Those are, again, all the paginated pages that we know index. So that was a really good initial cleanup effort just to essentially, make the site a little bit smaller in the eyes of Google, because you want a site that is deep rather than wide. You don't want a bunch of junk pages on the site. You want, every page to be high quality, right? So that's the first thing that we did. The next thing you'll notice in the crawls, there was a couple broken links. So we just went in and just added 301 redirects to these links. And I have a file over here in this sheet where we kind of map out some of the 301 redirects. There were no broken backlinks, and the website speed was honestly pretty good. If you're on Shopify, typically your website speed is going to be fine. There's not a whole lot you have to do to like optimize it. Shopify is great because like from a technical standpoint, like you're going to be in pretty good shape outside of like a couple minor things. Right. And then the last thing we did was, we added a sitemap to Google Search Console, and, the schema markup was already set up. Cool. So moving on, next thing we did was we performed a content audit, right? So this is kind of, again, going into that idea of like, you want a site that is deep rather than wide, right? Like you don't want a site that has a whole bunch of low quality pages. And this site had a lot of blog content that was like super low in quality, right? So we, again, have a sheet that kind of maps out a lot of the blog content and a lot of like the metrics like traffic, clicks, impressions, keywords, whatnot. And you'll see a lot of stuff in red. So these are essentially all of the blog posts that we decided to delete, right? And the reason why we deleted them was because, you can see some of the metrics we kind of look at, right? Like, if a blog post is thin in word count, if it's not receiving substantial organic traffic, if it doesn't have relevant keyword rankings, remove them, right? In all of these blogs in red, you'll see the traffic is just zero, right? Keywords are very limited. We went and actually looked to see like what these keywords are, and like all of them either had keyword rankings that were super irrelevant, or they ranked like number 90 for the target keyword. And we're like, okay, there's zero traffic. The target keyword is nowhere near to getting on the first page. And the quality of the content isn't that good. So we marked them for deletion, and we just went ahead and just like unpublished, all of that content. So right off the bat, right, like we really cleaned up the site, right? Like we did a technical audit, fixed the 404 errors. We no indexed all those unnecessary pages. We performed a content audit and got rid of like, I think, so let's see, they had, 246 blog posts, and we deleted like 112 of them. So like almost 50% of the blog posts wiped out. So instantly the site is smaller. It's a little more compact. It's cleaner. It's all of a sudden looking way better in the eyes of Google, right? Next, we wanted to perform a backlink audit, right? So one of the biggest lies that Google tells you is that they ignore low quality backlinks, right? And the reason why I know that's true is because every time I disavow a large quantity of low quality backlinks, I always see keyword rankings increase, right? That's why like whenever I work with a brand, I always ask them like, okay, have you worked with like a link building agency before? Have you, bought links off of Fiverr before, right? Because typically, a lot of link builders, and especially those link builders on like Fiverr, it's really, really low quality links. And unfortunately, this brand had used previous link builders who maybe weren't really up to par, right? So what I did was I went and I exported all of their backlinks, right? Like, I set it to 1 link per domain just so I can see. I didn't want like 500 links from like one specific domain. I just wanted to see every domain that was linking to this brand, right? And I exported it, and I essentially went in and found all the links that were low quality, right? And so like what defines a low quality link? It's a link from a website that is receiving no organic traffic. Maybe that website was penalized in the past. So the way you can determine that is if you look at the traffic for the website, you see the traffic is just like, declining very steadily. And then also if the website just looks spammy, right? So I went through, audited the entire link profile and found a ton of low quality links. And what you'll notice is that a lot of the languages, like there's no language for it, right? Or the language is like, it's like a non-English site, right? So see, non-English site. And then if you just like take a look at the links too, like, the website's not going to load, or, maybe some days it will load, some days it won't. Maybe it's offline, some days online, other days, right? You pick out some other, like this stuff like this, right? Like this is all spam, and this is all stuff that's like going to hurt your SEO, right? I don't care that Google says that they're gonna like, ignore the link. They don't really ignore the links. So again, I went in, identified all these like super low quality links, and then I added it to the disavow file. So with step 3, right, the site is even more cleaned up. We have the technical stuff taken care of. We have the audit The content audit taken care of. We have the backlink profile kind of cleaned up. Now it was time to identify some target keywords, right? So in an e-commerce SEO campaign, like the main target keywords are going to be like target keywords for your collection or product category pages, right? Like identifying target keywords for those pages and ranking those pages is what's going to make you money. So that's where we focused our efforts on, right? So if you go over to this collection tab, I moved all of the brand's collection pages into this sheet over here. And you'll see underneath the primary keywords column, this is where I selected primary keywords for each collection page. So how do you actually go about and like find those primary keywords? So there's a couple ways to do it. So the first way you can do is you can just like check like what keywords a page already ranks for to see if they're like low-hanging fruit opportunities, right? So like if I look at, something like acrylic bong, if I go to the Site Explorer and I put this link in there, we'll see like, okay, is there any relevant keywords that this page ranks for? And it ranks for acrylic bongs, right? It's already, at position 51. It's relevant. It's already ranking. So this is a good keyword to target, right? If there are no keywords that are coming up for you to target, if there are no like existing keyword rankings, what you can do is simply just Google like what it is, right? So it's like if you're trying to rank a glass bongs page, just Google glass bongs, right? Or if you're trying to rank an acrylic bongs page, just Google acrylic bongs, and then look for like a collection page that's ranking. So I'm going to click this first one over here, and then I'm going to plug it into Ahrefs to see what keywords it already ranks for, and you're going to get a list of, again, all the keywords that this page ranks for. You can go and just pick the one that's most relevant to the page, right? So I went in and, we filtered down all the important collection pages that the brand wanted to rank for, went in and identified target keywords for all of them. So boom, pretty simple. Next, what we needed to do was we needed to optimize the collection pages for target keywords, right? So the way you optimize a collection page for target keywords, it's really simple. Just add the target keywords to the meta title. Like, don't add any additional fluff to the meta title. What I'm going to show you is that the meta titles for this brand were just absurdly bad. Like, there was so much extra junk in there that was forcing the collection pages to actually target additional keywords that we didn't want to target, right? So just keep the meta title simple. Just have your target keywords there. Keep the meta description simple. Like, have a quick sentence, just, enticing users to click on the page, and just use the primary target keyword in there. Just use the primary target in the H1 tag. Make sure the URL slug includes just the primary keyword, right? And then add some content below the products, right? Like collection pages, in order for them to rank, like you need some content on them, because without content, like these collection pages are just a list of products. Like Google's not going to know like what the page is about, or, they'll know based off the title tag and the meta title. But it's just harder for them to understand what the page is without content, right? You just need text on the page. So add some content below the products, right? Make sure there you have sections in there that talk about why users purchase from your brand over competitor brands. Add an FAQ about your product line, and then of course like add some internal links to other relevant collection pages. So let me kind of show you how I structured some of these meta titles. So it's really, really simple, right? Like keyword is bong goals. Boom, meta title, bong bowls. Meta description, right? I have bong bowls in there. H1 tag, bong bowls, right? Glass bongs, we have two keywords that we're targeting: primary, secondary, right? Meta title includes both glass bongs and glass bongs for sale, which is the primary and secondary keyword, right? H1 tag and meta description just include the primary keyword, right? So it's super simple. I want to show you what some of these meta descriptions looked like before we went in and changed anything. So let me go find the bongs collection page, because I think that's a really good example of like why the SEO was so bad. Like take a look at the meta title, best bongs for sale online, right? Like best bongs and bongs are two separate keywords. You can't target both of them on the same page, right? And then at the same time, a keyword like bongs, like I know we end up ranking this brand for the keyword bongs, but you want to try to go after keywords that are a little more long tail and low competition, right? Like a head keyword like bongs, like, yeah, we rank for it, but it's like, I wouldn't want to tell the client or tell the brand like, hey, we're going to go after bongs and try to rank you for that. I'd want to go after something that's a little more attainable and a little more specific, like glass bongs, right? So right off the bat, it's like they're not even targeting, a great keyword, and they're targeting two separate keywords here with bongs and best bongs, right? And then the meta description, again, still just targeting bongs. And then the H1 tag is targeting like bongs for sale in our online head shop. Like that's just way too long, right? Like we need something smaller, including our target keyword, keep it simple, keep the UX clean, right? And then of course, like, the URL was just bongs. We went in and actually changed this URL to glass bongs, as you'll see here, just so we can incorporate the target keyword. And you can see again here, H1 tag, glass bongs. And then when you take a look at like the actual content on the page, we have some stuff about why you should buy from Badass Glass instead of like competitors, right? And then we have some FAQ stuff. And then we have some like internal links to like other collection pages like the dab rigs, right? So that is pretty much it for the on-page optimization, right? So we did that again for like all of these collection pages. We just made, the meta title, description, H1 tag, everything like super simple. And we're currently going through and like upgrading the content on the pages. So moving on, the second to last thing we did was we optimized the internal linking. So with internal linking, like what you want to do is you want to try to find other pages that have good backlinks pointing to them and leverage those backlinks to boost the authority of other pages, right? So what does that mean? So I went over to Ahrefs, right? And I just put badassglass.com in there, right? And then I actually filtered it down even more just to look at the blogs, right? Because we want to look at pages that we can like update the internal linking for, and it's a lot easier to update the internal linking of like informational content, right? So what I did was I went to Best by Links and I found all of these pages that had referring domains or backlinks pointing to them. And I looked for the ones that had a good DR, right? Like how long to heat a quartz banger, right, has a link with a 40 DR, right? States where weed is legal has one with a 59 DR. Dispensary marketing has a link with a 62 DR, right? And I found some of the top pages and I edited them and I included internal links to a lot of the big collection pages that this brand wanted to rank for. So we sent links to the Quartz Bangers page. We sent links to the Glass Bongs page, right? And what that does, again, is it helps the authority from these links transfer to that collection page, power it up, and help it rank for more keywords, right? So again, internal link optimization is super, super important. It's even better if, again, you can leverage these existing backlinks to power up your pages, right? Now, the last thing we did was link building, right? So this is pretty simple. I think link building, people overcomplicate it, but it actually is pretty simple. Like all you're doing is you're looking for websites that are relevant to your niche. You double check to make sure they have a good DR score, ideally over 30, and you make sure that they have like increasing or steady organic traffic, like ideally 1,000 clicks per month. Then you reach out to these sites. You essentially offer them payment for the link and you get the link. I mean, usually sites are going to charge between kind of mid to average sites will charge around like $100 to $200 per link, but you can definitely go way higher to 300, 400, even thousands of dollars per link, depending on the site. So depending on your budget, go after and get the highest quality links possible. And what we did with our link building is we built half the links to the homepage of the site and we built half the links to the collection page, right? So the reason why we build links to the homepage is because when you build links to the homepage, it powers up the entire site, right? It also keeps the link profile balanced, right? Like if you're just building links to collection pages, it's going to start to look unnatural because typically the homepage is going to be the most linked to page on the site, right? So if you're going to build links to your collection pages, you want to kind of match that cadence and also build links to your homepage too, so that the homepage stays as the page with the most links to it, right? So again, we built half the links to the homepage, half the links to the collection pages, and we simply just built links to collection pages that were important to the brand, and we try to keep a balance of focusing on collection pages that were important to the brand, but then also focusing on collection pages that were close to hitting the first page, just because those are low-hanging fruit opportunities that will drive an ROI, right? So again, in 3 months, this is pretty much all that we did. And we've seen a really solid increase in organic traffic for this brand, right? They're not out of the woods yet. This is, we're not even close to getting the organic traffic back to like where they were in 2020, right? But we've reversed the trend. We've fixed all of these issues, right? And, again, they're ranking for glass bongs, they're ranking for bongs, right? And the trajectory is really, really good. We have a really solid foundation for the site. Now we need to continue, creating content for collection pages, building links, and this organic traffic should just keep increasing over time. And I have no doubt we'll get them back to these levels where they're generating 60,000, 70,000 organic clicks a month. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.